used to think hotels were the safest places you could sleep. You lock a door, you hang a sign, you become anonymous. That belief lasted until a work trip in late November, when I checked into a roadside hotel outside a small city in Pennsylvania and realized anonymity works both ways. No one knows who you are, but you also don't know who was there before you. I'd driven almost 6 hours for a training seminar and booked the cheapest place that looked clean enough online. I didn't care about amenities. I just needed a bed, a shower, and silence. The hotel lobby had dim lighting and thick red carpet that swallowed footsteps. It smelled faintly like old furniture and cleaning spray. The woman at the front desk barely looked up when I checked in. She handed me a key card, circled my room number on a map, and told me the elevator was out of order. 3rd floor, end of the hallway. I remember that detail clearly now. The hallway upstairs was quiet in a way that felt staged, not peaceful, just empty, like a building after closing hours. Every door looked identical, same dull paint, same brass numbers, same thin strip of light underneath. My room looked normal. Small bed, desk, bathroom, nothing out of place. I tossed my bag down, turned on the TV for background noise, and took a shower. After driving all day, I fell asleep faster than I expected. Sometime after midnight, a soft sound woke me. Not a knock, not footsteps, something sliding. At first, I thought it was the air conditioner rattling, or someone down the hall dragging luggage. I stayed still, half asleep, waiting for the noise to stop. It didn't. It came again, slow, careful, right near the door. I turned on the lamp and stared at the gap under the door. A thin white edge was sticking through. Paper. I got up and walked over slowly. When I picked it up, my hands were already tense. It was folded once. Inside were a few messy handwritten words. Someone is watching you from inside the hotel. No signature, no explanation. I listened for footsteps in the hallway. Nothing. Absolute silence. Whoever slid the note had either moved very quietly or never been there long. I locked the deadbolt and chain, then sat on the bed with my back against the wall. The lamp stayed on. I wasn't tired anymore. 20 minutes passed, maybe more. Then the sliding sound returned. Another piece of paper appeared under the door. This one took longer, like whoever was pushing it wanted me to hear every second of it. I picked it up. I was inside your room earlier. I like watching people sleep here. My chest tightened in a way that didn't feel like panic yet, just awareness, the kind that makes your skin feel too thin. I checked everything, closet, bathroom, under the bed, behind the curtains. Nothing, no one. Still, the idea that someone had been in the room before I arrived stuck with me. Hotel staff had master keys, maintenance workers, cleaners. Anyone could have walked in, or never left. I considered calling the front desk, but stopped myself. It was after 2 a.m., and I had the uncomfortable thought that whoever wrote the notes might work there. Someone with access. Someone who knew which rooms were occupied. I sat there for another half hour, staring at the door, listening to every small noise, the hum of the AC pipes shifting, distant elevator cables even though the elevator was broken. I told myself if a third note came, I'd leave immediately. For a while nothing happened. My breathing slowed. My shoulders loosened. I started to believe it was some kind of prank. Maybe teenagers. Maybe someone drunk. Then the sliding sound came again. Slower than before. I walked to the door and picked up the third note. I'm already inside again. I turned around slowly. Full circle. The room looked exactly the same as before. Bed, desk, chair, bathroom door slightly open. No movement, but something felt different. Not the room, the air. I grabbed my bag without thinking and went to the door. I checked the peephole. Empty hallway. I unlocked everything and stepped out quickly, pulling the door shut behind me. As I walked toward the stairwell, I glanced down the hallway once. At the far end, near the corner where my room sat, I thought I saw something move. Not a person exactly. More like someone stepping back into shadow at the same moment I looked. I didn't wait to confirm. I went straight to the front desk and told the night employee everything. He looked confused at first, then uneasy. He said there were only a few guests on my floor and none had reported leaving their rooms. He offered me a new room. I refused. I asked him to check my room with me before I left. He grabbed a master key and we went upstairs together. When he opened the door, everything looked normal. Nothing disturbed, no one inside. But the window latch was broken. Not old broken, fresh. He said maybe someone had forced it earlier from outside. Maybe maintenance would fix it in the morning. That answer didn't help. I checked out right then, drove to another hotel 20 minutes away and slept with the lights on. The next morning, I called the original hotel to ask if they'd found anything. They said no. No cameras caught anyone near my room. No staff reported issues. They sounded calm. Too calm. Like nothing had happened. For a while, I convinced myself it was a prank. Something random. Something explainable. Then I checked my bag when I got home. Inside the front pocket was a folded piece of paper I had never seen before. Same messy handwriting. You left too early. Most people stay longer. I learned something about hotels that night. A locked door doesn't mean you're alone. It just means someone else has a key. I was halfway through a long drive to visit family when exhaustion started to hit hard. It was close to midnight, the highway was empty, and I knew I shouldn't keep driving. I pulled off at the next exit and found a small hotel just off the road. Nothing special. 2 floors of rooms facing a parking lot, a flickering sign, and maybe 6 cars outside. It looked safe enough for a few hours of sleep. The lobby lights were dim and the place felt strangely hollow, like a building that stayed open out of habit more than business. The man at the front desk barely looked at me. He slid a key card across the counter, told me 3rd floor, end of the hall, and went back to staring at his computer. No small talk, no welcome speech, just a room number. The hallway upstairs felt too quiet. Every door had a "Do Not Disturb" sign hanging from the handle. Not 1 or 2, all of them. Like the entire floor had decided to disappear at the same time. My room was at the very end. When I opened the door, the first thing I noticed wasn't that it was dirty. It was that it looked recently used. The lamp was tilted slightly. One dresser drawer sat open just a few inches. The blanket had a small dent near the edge, like someone had been sitting there moments before I walked in. It wasn't messy enough to complain about, just off enough to notice. I told myself housekeeping rushed, dropped my bag on the chair, turned on the TV for noise, locked the door, then I lay down and tried to sleep. But the room felt occupied in a way I couldn't explain. Eventually, exhaustion won. I drifted off. I woke up to the sound of my doorknob moving. At first it was faint, a soft click, then another. Like someone testing the handle carefully, slowly, trying not to make noise. I stared at the door from the bed. The glow from the TV lit the handle just enough for me to see it shift slightly. Someone was outside. The handle stopped. Silence filled the hallway again. I held my breath and waited for footsteps. Nothing. Then came a metallic sound, a key sliding into the lock. That made even less sense. No one should have a key except staff. The key turned halfway. The door pushed gently, just enough for a thin line of hallway light to appear. The deadbolt held. Whoever was outside stopped pushing. Then the key slid out. The light vanished. Silence returned. I stayed awake for almost an hour after that, listening. No voices, no footsteps, nothing. Eventually, I convinced myself it was a staff member who mixed up rooms. It happens. Someone probably realized and left. I relocked everything and forced myself to sleep again. I woke a second time at exactly 2:15 a.m. I know that because I checked my phone the moment I realized I wasn't alone. There was movement in the room, soft rustling near my bag in the corner. I sat up slowly, heart already racing. In the dim light from the TV, I could see a shape, a person, standing over my bag, barely visible in the darkness. For a few seconds, I couldn't speak. Then I forced out, "Who's there?" A deep voice answered calmly.
Housekeeping. Sorry, I'll leave now.
The figure moved immediately toward the door. No panic, no running, just a quiet exit. The door opened, then shut again. I sat frozen for several seconds before turning on the light. My bag had been opened. Zippers moved, contents shifted. Nothing major taken that I could see, but it had clearly been searched. My hands were shaking when I called the front desk. I told them someone had entered my room with a key and gone through my things. The man downstairs sounded confused, then concerned, then defensive. He told me there was no housekeeping on duty overnight. That's when the adrenaline fully hit. I packed everything and went straight to the lobby. From there, I called the police and insisted they check the security cameras. When officers arrived, the desk worker reluctantly pulled up the footage. The camera showed a large man walking the hallway repeatedly, back and forth, past my room, past it again, stopping occasionally, standing near the door, waiting, watching. Then eventually, using a key, he opened my door and went inside. He stayed there for almost 3 minutes. The desk worker claimed he had no idea who the man was, said maybe a master key had been stolen, said it must have been a random intruder. I got a refund and left immediately, drove another 30 minutes and slept in my locked car instead. For a while, I tried to forget it, but a few days later, when I unpacked my bag at home, I noticed something I didn't recognize. At the bottom of the main compartment was a small white envelope. Inside was a hotel key card, not mine. Written on the back in thin black ink were 4 words: "You are almost ready." If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe for more weekly horror. On screen now is the most recent upload and the most viewed story on the channel. Pick your next one carefully, and remember, some stories are better not listened to alone.